Hello, everyone. I am Brady Briggs here for another episode of the Combat Logic. Today, we're going to be, joining me is Tyler Avery. How are you, Tyler?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. Almost forgot you there. Today, we'll be talking about Triller 3, where Vitor Belfort fought Evander Holyfield in the first round, or in the main event. Now, in the first fight, David Haye fought Joe Fournier and pretty much dominated him throughout the fight. But what do you think of this one?
Yeah. We going into this, we thought that Haye might dominate him. But honestly, Fournier put up more of a challenge than I thought he was. He looked better than I thought he was going to look in there. But it was, it looked like a more experienced boxer versus a less experienced boxer. But other than that, I was a little impressed with Fournier. Hayes really did what I thought he was going to do, though. He's long, athletic. He keeps a decent pace for a big guy. He kept a decent pace through this fight. And I think that's what kind of won it for him. Accuracy, distance.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job throughout this fight. He did what he should have done. But yeah, Fournier impressed me a lot too. Like, I was looking at the guys that he'd fought, who aren't great boxers. He's 9-0. He came back earlier this year after like a 5-year hiatus. Like, I looked at him like he wasn't a boxer. And he definitely should. He's definitely a boxer. Like, he can box pretty well, actually. Honestly, I'd like to see him.
Actually I was less impressed with Hayes because he did what I thought he could do, but maybe not quite as much as well as I thought he was going to be able to do it, but it was still enough to win.
Right.
But then again, I wasn't super impressed with his performance, even though I was going in expecting him to win this.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with his performance. I mean, he did win he lost one round according to two judges. But Fournier, he's got some good punches. He commits to them. He's got some power. Like, I'd like to see him fight Tommy Fury, or maybe
that would be good.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jake Paul. He would fuck Jake Paul up. Yeah, I'd like to see him fight Tommy Fury. That would be a good fight.
Right.
We're gonna move on to the super featherweight fight between John O'Carroll and Andy Vences. This was a very back and forth fight. A lot of those rounds were pretty hard to score until the end there, or the latter few rounds rather. See, Carroll defeated Vences via majority decision. How did you score
it? It was really close. It's kind of hard to say on that one. It was kind of like a back and forth dog. And sometimes in boxing matches, those are really hard to judge. It comes down to not just who landed more punches, but how much you think each punch mattered individually. Yeah. So it's hard to say. That fight, I probably wouldn't have been upset either way. I'm more of an MMA guy myself, so I feel more confident making a tough decision in MMA. But in boxing, I was happy with what I saw from both guys. If it would have been a draw, I wouldn't have been too upset. I would have accepted it either way and been happy with it.
Yeah, that's fine. I could have seen it being a draw too. But that's funny. I think boxing is also harder to score than MMA, or definitely has the potential to be.
Smaller margins. There's less to look at,
And a lot of those punches are blocked with the gloves, and there's so many different things. Yeah, I'm interested to see both of them fight again. Honestly, I wouldn't even be too upset with a rematch, even though I'm sure they're not going to do it.
Right.
But let's talk about the main event. These last two were super, super good. The first two went to decisions. So Anderson Silva straight up starched Tito Ortiz.
Right.
What do you think of this one?
I mean, Tito looked not so great going into it, in my opinion. Like, when I saw him on the scale, I feel like he had to fight hard to lose the weight that he did, and he just didn't look that great. I don't know. I just saw Anderson beating him. Maybe not this bad, but Anderson looked good. I mean, there's not too much to say about Tito. Tito he looked all right. He came out throwing, good punches, and Anderson did the Roy Jones Jr. approach and shoulder rolled and used bobbing and weaving in some heavy
favorite boxer.
Yeah, he was a better counter puncher, and man, when he landed good, and he landed hard.
That is what it is. Because Ortiz, he came out and he was doing, he was trying to do what he needed to do. He was definitely bringing the fight to Anderson. But a lot of his punches were just very slow. I feel like he wasn't confident in them. He didn't commit to
Right.
them. And Silva took the perfect opportunity to counter him. He hurt him pretty bad with that. And then the next shot just flattens him. It went a lot like I thought it was going to. I mean, like we said to each other previous, like Ortiz never outstruck anybody in MMA. I don't know what you think he was going to beat one of the best strikers ever.
Yeah, and he was, if he didn't get knocked out, he was going to tire at the pace he was going anyway. He only had a good 1-2 rounds of that type of a pace in him. And then Anderson's going to dance around you and poke you with jabs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's super, super talented. I'm so glad, too, because, dude, he's had a real career turnaround after, like, his initial career turnaround. 16-0 in the UFC to 1-7-1, and now he's 2-0 in boxing this summer. It's pretty awesome.
I like to see guys that were on the top for so long not just completely stop fighting completely just because they can't necessarily beat the top 3 anymore. I like to see that he's accepted that he's not where he used to be in as a fighter. He's not the same fighter he used to be. So he didn't take a ton of steps down. He took the amount of steps down that he needed to still challenge himself, but he's still making money with good, big name fights. And he didn't just fall off because he can't beat the top 3 guys or he can't be champion anymore. He's still active in the sport, and he knows that he's still got some show left to show off. Still got some flashiness left in the spider.
Yeah, for sure. I was almost hoping that he would have went to kickboxing or something, honestly, but I'm kind of liking him in boxing.
The sky's the limit. He could still do those things that there's a place for big name fighters to go after their career is coming to an end at the elite level now. They can either fight other legends, maybe in better situations, better like exhibitions, because we'll get to the Holyfield thing that maybe that should have been done differently. We'll get to that. But maybe set up these legends that have big names to test their skills against each other in a safe way.
Yeah.
So he could do kickboxing.
It's so cool that they're coming out with these things now that they got bare knuckle boxing. Like some of them are transitioning to boxing. Some of them are just going to other MMA promotions. It's super cool, man. There's always something to pay attention to with these guys. All right. Well, we're going to get to what's next for Anderson. But before we do that, let's talk about the main event between Evander Holyfield and Vitor Belfort. Now, I kind of wish this didn't happen, especially after watching it. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I was optimistic a lot about this fight. I was feeling good about it because I thought it was so cool to be able to see Holyfield come out at his age. Like that era of boxing is my favorite era of boxing. Between the Muhammad Ali era and then the Tyson era and then the Holyfield era. Those are like that. The old school time frames in boxing are really my favorite. And he's one of the greatest ever to do it. And to see him walk into the ring now when I never thought I would be able to do that was kind of cool. And I was optimistic that he was going to do well because he looked in good shape and stuff. But timing and stuff, once that goes away and his coordination was gone, he just I saw that people were right when they said he had no business in there. And I agree with that now. He didn't have any business in there. He couldn't even throw punches and stay on his feet.
Right. He didn't like that power at all. But when you're talking about his timing, how about Vitor Belfort's timing, man, for being 44 years old? Like, not only his body, but that tells me he was on something because he wasn't that fast, like the last couple of fights,
I want to see him versus someone that is where Vitor is because now that we saw Holyfield was so slow that it almost amplified everything that Vitor did. Looked even more amazing. Yes, Vitor looked pretty good for his age, but I want to see someone who is Vitor's age, but also is in the type of shape Vitor is right now. And you're right. I think Vitor is definitely on something because he looks better than when he retired in the UFC.
Yeah, for sure, man. Physically, he looked better in the fight. But yeah, that's a good point. Holyfield was pretty slow. but
it amplified everything Vitor did, and it made him look
yeah,
even better. Like, you don't have to have that great of timing to land on someone that, you know, they can't even stand on their 2 feet when they throw a punch. Like,
right.
you could see that Holyfield wanted to do the things that his brain knows
Used to,
that he can
yeah,
do. It's trained in him to do it. He knows the technique, but his body just can't do it anymore. He his the reaction timing isn't the same, and his legs just don't move the same way, and he just can't do the mechanics the way his brain is telling his body to do
right,
them.
yeah,
And it was kind of sad to see, because he looked confused out there. He's
it
like, I know
was.
what to do. I can do it. And he's trying to do it, and he just can't do it.
Right. Yeah. His body wouldn't let him. Vitor's shot selection was really good too. He threw some combos. Like he looked great, man. What do you want to see next for him?
There's a lot of options for Vitor.
Yeah, there
Anderson
are.
Silva
I was
rematch.
gonna say, yeah, I kind of want to see him rematch Silva. If I was Silva, I wouldn't take that fight. But he got KO'd with a front kick and wrong. He can't kick him though. That would be super interesting. They're two really, really great boxers. Like Anderson, he's always been more of a Muay Thai Taekwondo fighter, but he's also always had some of the best hands in the sport of
Mm-hmm.
MMA. And Vitor obviously has always been like that too.
Really fast hands. Yeah. Um, yeah, I agree. But we also haven't seen Vitor box for more than a half of a round, not even a half of a round.
That's a
So
good point.
Anderson could rope a dope, bob and weave, and just uh, shell up and let Vitor throw. And I think he has it in him to survive with his movement, his defensive skills, and just his head movement, all of it put together. I feel like if he gets caught, it'll be like a few times. Vitor could have a few big moments,
Yeah.
but the later rounds, he's going to be touched up, I think, from Anderson. It could be a good fight.
No, yeah, for sure. Do you think the Paul brothers could fit anywhere in here?
It's tough. It's tough to say maybe Logan, but
Yeah, I think Jake's a little smarter
Jake
than
just
that.
beat Tyron Woodley, who not that long ago was a UFC champion. He can only go from there, in my opinion, to other fights that are as big of a deal or more. I don't
Mm-hmm.
see him trying to sell a super fight with a name that is less impressive than Tyron Woodley. Not that
Right.
Anderson Silva is less impressive or Vitor is less impressive, but I don't see him going after a super old, out of his prime fighter anymore.
Yeah.
He's probably going to go for more of an up and coming, um, like an inexperienced up and comer, like more like a Fury type
That
of a
would be
guy.
smart.
Yeah, him to take another year off. He says he's retiring. I think he's taking time to go back to the drawing board,
Yeah.
work on his skills under, um, under our noses, kind of, and make us think that he's not fighting. And then he's probably going to announce a fight, and everyone's gonna think he's only been training for a little bit, but he's been
Mm-hmm.
working really, really hard, and his next opponent is probably gonna be a boxer at his experience level.
I hope he does that. I don't know
With a
why he wants
name.
to play Conor McGregor and retire. Maybe it's because Tyron won't shut up about the rematch. Maybe it'll get him to shut up about it because you notice how, dude, Jake had to make a new bet with Tyron just so Tyron would keep the bet that he already made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he already said he would get the tattoo, and now he says he'll do it if they rematch. It's like you already made that bet, man. But I think,
Desperation, man.
yeah, and it's like right after the fight, Tyron, you just had 8 rounds to do this. Like I understand how he feels. Like I feel like
I
I
don't
could have.
even really want to see the rematch.
No, me
Uh,
either.
Tyron had a long opportunity, a long time to
Yep.
show us what he could do versus an inexperienced fighter that's a
24
lot more
minutes.
inexperienced than him. Yeah, and honestly, I don't want to chance that. I don't want to waste my time watching it again, knowing that he's probably going to perform the same way he has in those
Yep.
last 5 UFC fights.
Exactly, dude. It's not exciting.
That's
And
just Tyron Woodley at this point. He's
yeah,
just not. That's just him. He did it in the UFC, uh, and now he's done it with inexperienced, an impressive novice,
yes, that's a
a
good way to put
talented,
it.
impressive beginner.
Yeah, he's too gun shy, man. But I think Jake for acting like he's retired and then to take some time off, that would be a great idea because
He says he's retired.
He just went to the distance for the first time in his career. He realized I can't knock everyone out. So maybe,
but in a way, I think he's also confident that he can go the distance now. He's like, I went the distance and with someone that has experience. So, I would be through the roof. I would think I'm the hottest shit ever if I just went out there with a few years in combat sports and went out and survived even 3 rounds with Tyron Woodley in a boxing match. I would think I'm the shit.
Not to mention outpoint him. Like, it was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and Tyron didn't look good. I don't want to see that fight again. I really don't.
Do you want to see Tyron box again?
No.
Do you want to see him go back to another MMA promotion?
I'd watch it. I'd watch him do like some submission grappling or something like that.
Yeah, something where punches aren't thrown because he's still got the power, but he's too gun shy, man. He doesn't. I don't know. He's always been gun shy too. It's just he was able to find the openings more when he was younger. He
was hungry at one point, so it kind of balanced it out.
You notice once he started rapping, he hasn't won a fight since.
Yeah. Did you see how they said, I saw a picture, it said since he came out with the song I'll Beat Your Ass, he's lost every round in the UFC.
Yeah, and every round too. Yeah, he won 2 rounds against Jake. That's crazy, man. That's so crazy.
You slowly drift away and people catch up with you.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up. I appreciate you for coming on, Tyler. Everybody like and subscribe and tune in for the next one. Have a good one, bud.
Take it easy, man.